welcome to Reverse the Verse. This is our special October subscriber edition where we take questions from our development subscribers. I'm your community manager, Jared Huckabee. With me as always, Reverse the Verse is our director of community engagement, online strategy, and spaceships, Mr. Ben Lesnick. And outside here, Alexis, our subscription manager, since this is our special subscription edition, is here. That's Alexa's hand right there. We'll get her on in a little bit. And joining us this week, this month, of character concept artist, Jeremiah is a character concept artist. Now, Gurmak is just concept artist, but this is a character concept artist. And that just means he got here first and name it 3 times.
That means Jeremiah
It means he's a very niche. He can only do
stick figures.
Also, I feel like you're answering all the questions they can answer in their intro.
Thanks, Jared.
I believe the music is still playing.
Of course the music's still playing. So it wouldn't be RTV without me leaving the music playing. I even left it up on my screen so I can remember.
Yeah, come in the back here, Alwyn.
And joining us now is, what is your new title now, Elwin?
Lead vehicle artist.
Lead vehicle artist, Mr. Elwin.
He goes by Mr. Lead.
That's according to Jeremiah.
Mr. Lead. How you doing?
That's not my name. I'm good.
All right, so we usually start off every RTV with talking a little bit about what you've been doing for the last week. So why don't we start with you, Gurmak? What are you working on now?
I've been working on the Archimedes, finishing up the art for that ship. It's been a lot of fun. Made some cool in situ renders that were a lot of fun for me to do. And then I'm gonna help with Crucible art and figuring out anvil style guide type stuff to kind of tighten all that up.
Oh yeah, we looked at the Crucible last week and we said the interior should be more anvil looking, and you're the man
Yeah.
for the job there.
I guess. So yeah, definitely trying to really tighten up that the style for anvil and get that information available for everybody to kind of be able to follow, which is it's kind of a hard task actually, because in my mind I know what it's supposed to kind of look like, but putting it on paper is actually kind of difficult. So, like, so that other people can follow, you know.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it should be fun. That's what I've been working on.
Jeremiah? You're there you go. There you go. Hey, Jeremiah. What have you been working on that you can talk about?
Ready?
Ready.
Great. So I'm working on Squadron 42, and I'm working on characters such as so they're NDA stuff. I've been working on characters for like John Wright Davies.
Oh, sorry.
That's released. Gillian Anderson, also Ben Mendelsohn. Don't laugh at me. I've been working on those, and I'm also currently working on. Well, I can't talk about that either.
Nope.
A lot of NDA stuff. Well, I'm working on Squadron 42, and the characters are looking really sweet.
Yeah, they are. Very cool.
Well, at least in my perspective.
Yeah, the rest of us are
With
kind
his
of,
glasses on.
Also been doing a lot of work on helmets recently.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I can't say
Helmets.
for which corporation though.
Can you say what type of character?
No,
No. Oh, you can't?
I can't. I can't say.
Well, that's unfortunate.
But it is very cool.
All right.
It will be available soon.
Safety first. Safety first. That's why he's doing the helmet.
So maybe having people on that can't talk about what they're working wasn't the best idea.
Well, these guys are concept artists, right? So they work on the front end, the things that are, that you really can't talk about. Luckily for me, everything that I'm working on, I can talk about.
Elwin, save the day here. What have you been working on?
So for the last 2 to 3 weeks, actually, I've been working on the Constellation with a team out in Austin. Actually, the whole team here has been working on the Constellation to try and get that where it needs to be. Specifically, I've been working on a lot of the animated parts, so the missile arms, the missile boxes on the top. I redesigned the entire landing gear, set that up. And most recently, I did a pass on the Merlin docking port. which is super complicated, but it looks really cool.
It does. I saw that last night.
Chris was really happy with that.
Yeah, so it's looking really good. It's super exciting. So what we're waiting for now is we need code support to actually get that working. But at the moment, the block-in is there, so we can actually kind of see what it's looking like, and it's really exciting. And I'll be moving on to the Reliant this week.
Very cool. The Reliant is the.
That's the MISC sort of vertical ship using some Xi'an technology.
Right. All right. So we've got folks in chat. Some saying they can hear it just fine. Some saying that we have to turn it up. I will tell you that our levels are maxed and we are almost peaking. So if you're having trouble hearing us, turn it up.
Buy new speakers.
Yeah.
Get a new PC.
Yeah, we're at about the max that we can go here.
What if we
So-
just start talking louder?
That's always an option. If you can just start talking louder. You are pretty quiet, but I am literally at plus 15 on everything. So,
Oh wow.
Damn.
so you guys have if you can speak though.
Project.
Yes.
You want to show them how you have like a fancy professional soundboard there?
No, because I don't want to move it because it might break. We'll move the camera.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Here's our fancy professional soundboard. Woo.
So many buttons and dials.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions? Maybe we can
Yes.
answer it.
So let's go ahead and start asking a question. Has anyone asked about the Crucible yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the answer to that
It's in
question.
the works.
The Crucible is a really complicated ship.
The Crucible is a very complicated ship. Can we talk a little bit about the Crucible, and then maybe you can talk about some of the art challenges?
Absolutely. I mean, the Crucible is our, it is the penultimate ship in our most recent wave of fan-voted designs. It is a repair ship. That's it. No. It's designed at its base to be able to repair military fighters in the field. So it's sized so that a Hornet or a Gladiator or anything of that size will fit in its rear bay, which is kind of inspired by the shuttle. You see the like a NASA orbiter, the back part. I'm sure there's a more technical term, but with the clamshell doors, and it can bring in a satellite. It has the same Canadarm style grabbers, and can bring a fighter in. For a larger ship, it kind of saddles up to it and repairs it in open space. It's a very complex ship. There's a lot of movement with it, and a lot of game mechanics in it that we have to have right. Top Happy's been in charge of the design process for repair in general. You guys probably saw some repair in the CitizenCon demo. It's not like that. That's kind of our shortcut repair for having a system in right now. The actual system is going to be a bunch more complex, and you'll learn all about it when the Crucible hits. No ETA, but it's almost certainly the next one. We're very happy with the design now. What else can I say about it? It's modular. The back bay section can be removed and replaced with something else. And it was initial concept by Ryan Church, who was just fantastic. He's been with the project ever since the very start. He did the Constellation and all sorts of many of our most favorite ships, and it's another cool ship from him.
All right. So throwing it back to Owen, you haven't started on the Crucible yet,
No, not yet.
but you've seen it. You've seen the work that's been done.
Yes, I mean I've seen the concept model as it's been getting worked on and seeing the changes based on the game design needs.
Remember, the mic is all the way over here.
Yes, yes it is. So I think that Gamuk probably already touched on this a little bit, where one of the challenges is trying to get it to fit the manufacturer that we're working with, making sure that the interior looks like Anvil. And one of the other challenges, which I think is going to be a pretty big one, is making sure that we have a clear-cut sort of delineation between ships that can fit inside of it and ships that can't, since there's a limited space in the repair bay.
I'm trying to fix the mic. You can talk to them.
Yeah, so that's basically it for right now. We're really just focusing on making sure that the mechanics are all set in stone before we start actually building out the art. So we have some of our game designers in-house starting to look at where things are actually going to be placed inside, what the flow is going to be like going from one location to another, things like that. And then hopefully we'll be able to grab that and then build the art on top of it.
You may have noticed that just joining us is Omar Oweda.
Hello.
Is that right?
That's it. You
Omar
got it.
Oweda.
Aced it, man.
And your title is?
Character artist.
Character artist.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so this was character concept artist. This is character artist. So you guys work together, I take it?
We do work together.
What, we usually start the show talking a little bit about what you've been working on in general recently.
And this should
Okay.
be good because he didn't get the warning about what not to talk about.
Yeah, he wasn't here for the warning about all the things he shouldn't talk about. So let's see if he gets any of us fired.
Okay, great. So I jumped from, I was doing concept with Jeremiah, working on helmets and that kind of stuff. And then I started working with Forrest recently, probably about 5 months ago, doing the new character system with the modularity and being able to do swappable items, and also the layered system, which is now becoming a little bit earthquake.
Keep talking.
Which is now becoming kind of a more of a standard, and getting the pipeline in place, which right now it is in place. So we're increasing the quality and standard of the characters that go into our game, and kind of doing things with like cloth and bones, and seeing how far we can push the limit and still save memory and do all sorts of stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I've been working on. And then right now I am doing a suit that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about.
No.
What's this?
No, you
No,
can't.
They'll pick it up.
Cannot.
Yeah. Oh, I cannot talk about
No,
that.
you can't.
Okay, so I am doing something cool.
Yes, he is. Very cool.
Yes. Once again, for those of you who are just joining us, this is our special subscriber edition of Reverse the Verse. We do it once a month, and this month's focus is the art team. So if you have your questions, specifically for the art aspect of Star Citizen, those would be great.
Oh, I can say one thing actually.
Sure.
I already know. It's essentially what I just did recently is the Navy pilot helmet, which already the
Yes.
concept
Right.
has been released.
Yes.
So I did the concept for that, and then I brought it into game. So that is what I can say that I've done.
And your helmets do look very, very cool.
Thank you. So Jeremiah's new ones look badass as well.
Yeah, there are.
Are we allowed to say swear words?
You can
Yes.
say
Swear
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mild
Alright.
swear words.
That's what I'm
Mild
talking
swear words?
about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, ass is not a swear word.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
It's a
Donkey.
it's a thing on
It's
your
a
body.
thing.
Should I say cuss?
No,
Curse?
Animal.
it's the rear split.
It's just
Here's one for Elwin. Has the concept for the piece of, or not Elwin, Gurmok actually, has the concept for the P-72 been finalized? Will we be seeing it anytime soon?
It has been finalized and the art is 95% done. And if you want to see it soon, you have to be nice to Ben. He's the one in charge of that. So.
You'll be seeing it in the not too distant future. And the beauty pieces he's doing right now are fantastic. Well, the first one was. I haven't seen the second one yet.
Second one's almost done. In the works. It's looking cool.
Does asking about Ben's hair count as an art question?
People have been tweeting at me and
It's been looking
thanking me
real
about my
good.
hair since it started.
actually, yeah. It has
Yeah.
been looking
You're a
good.
bunch of weirdos, but I
Yeah.
love you.
Let's compare. Let's compare.
Damn, look at that.
Yeah.
you fit right in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Take it as you will.
That's not nice.
So who, this isn't for us, but you should answer
Yeah,
it.
of course
Who did the saber concept? Somebody in the UK. It was.
That was Gavin Rothery.
Yeah.
Gavin Rothery.
Gavin
It was a
Rothery.
mix. It was a tag team. Gavin and Daniel Joshua helped with some of the detailing. But mostly Gavin. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
He also did. He was the one. If you guys remember the first pass on the component system, all those component concepts, that was also Gavin. Gavin also did the Starfarer. Yeah.
I believe the saber is moving into gray boxing right now. Correct? I think so.
That's what I heard.
Gray boxing? Maybe. I actually don't think it is yet.
No, I think Aaron
I think it's
said
in
that.
white box, isn't it?
White boxing.
Maybe.
So character concept artist, have you done any work on the Vandal?
Me personally, no.
Have you seen any work on
Yes,
that?
I have.
Is it cool?
Yes.
Damn.
We had a question from earlier about tablets and stuff,
What?
pens versus mice, things like that. Can you tell folks what type of hardware you use for your work?
Oh, geez, Wacom, 100%.
Wacom.
Wacom.
That's how
Wacom.
it's pronounced. Wacom.
Whatever.
It's a Wacom tab.
Wacom.
I just thought it was
It's not
Wacom.
pronounced
Yeah,
Wacom.
Wacom.
I pronounce it Wacom, but it's actually pronounced Wacom. But I will never pronounce
It's
it that way.
Wacom?
That's
It's
Wacom.
pronounced Wacom.
Anyway, we use
It's-
those tablets.
We use those things.
It's pronounced
Well, like
man sounds.
Omar likes to use the Cintiq. I like to use the Intuos Pro.
And what do I use?
He uses both.
Oh,
Which does nothing.
absolutely nothing.
And talk a little bit about your workflow then. Where do you start?
Sometimes I paint with a mouse. Jeremiah makes fun of me for painting with the mouse, but
We even have a song.
Painting with the
Painting?
mouse is because they're too lazy to pick up the pen.
painting with the mouse.
What about from the software front? Where do you start software?
So
What tools do you use?
for me, I do a lot of my, most of my design and modeling in Maya, and then I render in Keyshot, and then I finish it up in Photoshop.
You've become a big proponent of Keyshot lately.
Yeah, Keyshot. A couple of us have been taking part in the beta testing for the Keyshot 6, and it's really cool. The thing that sold me on it is just it's really easy to use, and you don't get headaches from thinking about render settings and hoping your renders turn out nice. It's almost like a real-time render, so you pretty much see what you're gonna get on your screen pretty quick, and yeah, really high
It's so
quality.
fast.
Super fast.
Like, it's just, we were using V-Ray previously, and even with V-Ray RT, which is great, it's amazing, but it's still, the materials are pretty much already built in there. It's so intuitive. You can
Yeah.
get something out in a day.
Keyshot, yeah, it's real easy, and for me the best part is it keeps me in my artist mode, like design mode. I don't have to worry, like drag and drop materials. I don't have to worry about trying to set up materials and figuring out the settings to make it the right kind of metal or the right kind of glass or whatever. So that's just why I enjoy using it, is because it's really easy.
Does Keyshot give you your final output, or do you still take it into like Photoshop?
Well, I mean, no matter what render you do, if you're doing animation or if you're doing still images definitely take into Photoshop and take them to the next level. Like images straight from render are usually a little flat and lifeless, but if you do a couple tweaks in Photoshop, you can bring them to life. And then for animations, you just use After Effects, pretty similar to the way you would use Photoshop, and bring your animations to life. And so it's, but I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize when they're first starting is you have to add an extra layer of information to your renders in Photoshop. A lot of people think that your render is your final output, and no, you definitely want to add that like last 10%. It really does a lot for the image.
We have a question about clothing. Who can talk about clothing here? There you go. Are you familiar with the PhysX clothing from GameWorks NVIDIA at all?
No, I'm not super familiar with that.
Okay.
Is that the only?
But that's what they were asking. They were asking if you were planning to use it. So I was starting you off with whether you were familiar with it at all.
No, but what's the system that we are using for our like cloth physics? That's basically what they're talking about.
Well, I don't know necessarily. I know, but I don't think we're supposed to.
Oh, is it like some proprietary thing?
Well, I don't think we're necessarily supposed to talk about it
Okay.
right now, only because we have to see. If we start talking about it, making promises, we have to see how much we can use with the amount of memory, because it still is an MMO. So there's a lot of things we're testing out, but at the same time, we have to consider memory limits. So you can do a whole bunch of stuff, but we need to see what we can do using the amount of memory we have in our game. So we're doing a couple tests to see what we can do with like physics and claw sims and blended normal maps and all that stuff. So we're looking into it. We just got to see, because essentially, if you want clothing to fold as it's moving, there's 3 more maps that need to be loaded. That's only if you're using 3 blending maps. You can use 4, you can use 5. So when that is taken into place, that means there's less customization but higher quality bar. So we need to determine because we want to give a lot of customization, so we need to determine what really is our importance.
Gotcha. I've seen Forrest has a demo he shows on the tours where we show somebody's outfit and he can change the color of their outfit very easily with just a couple coordinates, a couple
Super
RGB
easy.
coordinates and stuff. So very cool.
The dirt, like the wear and tear stuff, is pretty cool
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
outfits too.
For sure.
Are there plans to have distinct in-fiction designer labels? Like we'll be able to walk down the street in ArcCorp and spot somebody wearing a jacket by Omar, or
There are designers. There's definitely. He's been working on a few things for certain types. I think Jeremiah can talk more about it. You also know about Megan's concepts, like terra fashion casual and that kind of stuff. Like you'll be able to understand the designer and shit stuff.
Well, I mean, we
Wait, what?
have companies in our game.
We're talking-
right?
we're
He's
talking-
right. The answer is yes. We do.
So, but
we
different
will have.
corporations and
Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff.
different corporations.
Or like companies, you know, like
Yeah,
different
yeah.
companies.
It'll be like the Gucci of Star Citizen, and you'll be able to
Right.
tell by a
Right.
logo or a tag. Or,
yeah, we've got Terra
Or the
Fashion,
style.
Terra Casual. There's
High fashion.
high fashion. There's I know a bunch of them, but I'm blanking on them right now. But we did a couple sneak peeks about a month or two ago where we showed a bunch of different outfits in the Terra.
Yeah, people
Casual.
love those.
yeah.
I mean, like for example, like I've been working on the shoe bin for about a good month and a half, and we have we've come up with a style that fits just the shoe bin corporation. So now that process is applied in all corporations. So a shoe bin shirt will not look identical to a Terra casual. There'll be different design cues for each shirt. So if you see someone on the street wearing a certain look, you'll most likely be able to identify, oh, he's wearing, I don't know, a Microtech t-shirt or a shoe bin or whatever. Yeah.
Any update on the shipskin system or the ability to custom paint our ships?
Not currently. There's no update to put out to talk about. But we have been looking at ways to make that easier. So it's still a plan to allow players to go in there and potentially change the color of their ship and things like that. We just haven't quite figured out what the best solution for that is, because it does change how we have to set up our ships. So right now we're focusing on getting the content out, and then we'll figure out how to get the customization working on the ships afterwards.
Okay.
Shoe bins confirmed.
Yes. Anybody here working on the Knicks landing zone? Anything with Knicks?
I think it's
Knicks.
Austin.
No, yeah, that's Austin. But what I've seen of it looks freaking awesome.
Yes, we're hoping to get some Knicks updates when we go to Austin in 2 weeks. No promises, but
UK too.
we'll try.
Well,
I promise, we'll get something.
Yeah. UK as
Stuff that
well.
The Austin
Uh,
team had.
Right,
Is it-
right. I
is
just
it-
want to ignore a team.
Has anyone here worked on the Cartual? The Shion Scout?
Yes,
What can you tell us about that?
I can tell you that it is going to be built out in. It's going to be built out in Austin,
We've had
So-
It is.
which is a little sad for me because I really wanted to build that ship.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. I got the real line.
But they're doing some concept stuff in the UK right now.
Yeah,
right?
they're doing some a new concept
interior
pass
stuff.
on the Cartois exterior, interior, sort of to build out the culture kit for the Xi'an, and that's going to be used as the base for all of the Xi'an ships.
It's looking
and,
really cool.
Yeah, the Xi'an culture and all that good stuff, and that's going to influence the Cartois. So it's not going to look exactly the same as the concept that you guys have seen, but it looks freaking awesome.
It looks better.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Looks really
Yeah.
cool.
On
Started 10 threads in the forum.
yes, on ATV last week, you saw some materials tests for the Shion Scout. That was just one of many tests that they're doing. So, yeah, they're working on it. Joining us right now, Dan Kaminsky. Hi, Dan Kaminsky.
Hello.
What's your title, Dan Kaminsky?
I'm an associate 3D artist.
Associate 3D artist. What's that do?
I work on ships. I guess I model. I do support tasks. I build stuff. I have fun.
All right.
Typical art stuff.
And what are you working on right now?
I'm helping out with the constellation. Getting her ready. Working on some LODs to get it so that it will function right in the game. That's about it.
And recently, you did a lot of work on the Herald.
Oh yeah. I was working on the Herald and mostly on the interior, designing out some of the, kind of fleshing it out. It's a pretty tricky ship because it's like got all these crazy server racks in it, and all these wires and all this just jumble mess. But it's cool because it's one of, I think it's the second Drake ship, so we're still kind of defining the style. So I really had like a little bit more creativity with it, and really got a chance to like kind of dig into what Drake is and think about like, because they're a cool manufacturer because they're not like a lot of the other manufacturers where it's more like well built and sturdy. Like if you look at Aegis and Anvil, they're very like, even though they're military and utilitarian, they're still like really nicely built, and they have like a lot of stuff. Like in the Herald, one of the things I was toying with was exposing the internal insulation, because they're Drake, they don't necessarily care if it looks pretty, they just want it to fly.
So very cool. We showed we showed an interior gray box image of the Herald on ATV a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we snuck it in there.
Which one? Is that the one with the control panel?
Yeah,
The
with
red
the control panel.
Oh, yeah, that's...
inside. Yeah. So
That
some
control panel is tight.
yes, so some eagle-eye viewers figured out that was the Drake that we squeezed in there.
There was a good question in there about characters with exposed necks.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll address that issue. Essentially, what happened is with these legacy characters, we weren't 100% aware of what was going to be EVA capable and what was not going to be EVA capable. That is something that has been developed and thought about and then reconcepted. So with the characters who have exposed necks, we assumed that they were going to be just in combat. So now we have a collar system that works if your suit is EVA capable and you put on a helmet, it will lock and it will not expose your neck. So the reason for the exposed necks was because we wanted to demonstrate something and we didn't have a character ready to go to demonstrate that kind of technology, because when we were doing the light marine and that kind of stuff, there wasn't, oh, this one should be EVA, this one should not be EVA, this, and this. So yes, all characters who will be in space will not have exposed necks.
Right. I mean, even in concept phase, they even ask us those questions, like there has to be a purpose for the suit. I can't just make like an astronaut suit and not have seals on it, right? So we have to do call-outs on our concepts to say, this is where the seals are, this is where the helmet attaches to the suit, this is where the boot seals, this is where the glove seals. So we do take it into consideration. So that was just an early phase thing.
So we've come an awful long way from the original Wing Commander, where you could bail out of your ship wearing a leather jacket.
I also want to add that Toast is showing up to make sure that we don't say anything that we're not supposed to. Look at this real quick. He's just sitting there.
He is our ball and chain.
He's just sitting there.
Save us.
He's watching everything we say and do.
Toast, get him out of here.
We're the bad guys.
Seen a lot of questions about the Prowler and whether work on that has started.
It is not.
Okay. How about any work on the Tavaran race? Anybody know anything about Tavaran?
The Tavaran race, the culture kit for that is not built yet, but it's gonna get looked at pretty soon.
And we are going to be kicking off the Prowler once the Reliant variants are done, which is very, very soon.
Do we intend for it to be possible to load custom logos onto our ships? Decals?
We've had conversations about it, but I don't know if the next.
Yeah, that's more of a question for the game designers,
Yeah.
actually.
The hope is yes. If there's some issue with that, we will tell you when it happens. But the long-term goal is, yeah, you should be able to do nose art and that sort of thing.
Now that we've moved forward with dividing ship manufacturers between the studios, can we update on what studios are working on which ship manufacturers? Do we know that?
Yeah, I mean, I can, off the top of my head, the UK is going to be working on Aegis, MISC, forget the other two. Do you remember the other two?
I think Aegis mixed. No.
Well, we can go through. Where's Anvil?
Yeah. Anvil is going to be here.
Anvil and Drake.
Yeah,
are
so
us.
Anvil is going to be US. We'll have Drake also.
And we're doing RSI too, right?
We are also doing RSI, and we're also doing Origin.
I think RSI is probably going to be mostly Josh Coons and Chris Smith because they know that style.
Well, yeah, but that's like the US team,
Yeah.
right? So like we're all LA and Austin are part of the US team. So we have those four, and there's a few other ones in there that haven't really been split up, like what's the Consolidated Outland, the Mustang company. That one hasn't been assigned to any country because we only have that one ship right now. So when something else comes along, we'll pop that in somewhere. And I think, actually UK is also going to be handling the Van Duel ships, all of them.
Right.
Any updates on the Starfarer?
Yeah, it's getting.
Looks so cool.
It does.
Yeah, it's getting built out right now. I believe part of it is in gray box, and we have certain sections of it which are looking really awesome. So that's coming along pretty nicely.
Zane's doing some look dev on the UI for it right now. That looks
Nice.
fantastic.
Sans UI always looks really cool.
He's kind of good.
It's one of those cool things that when you're building a ship and it's starting to come together, and then you see Zane pop in the UI, and you're suddenly like, because you're modeling the screen your entire time, but it's blank, and then all of a sudden it has all this cool UI on it. It's one of those moments where it's like, it's all coming together.
Let's see. We've got the art team here, guys, so we're kind of coasting past design questions at the moment. Let's go to our thread and see about some of our pre-canned questions here. Folks catch up.
So what are you guys doing this weekend?
This weekend's Halloween.
Oh yeah, it
Should
is.
be fun. Gonna go
Oh.
trick or treating with my niece.
Gonna get turned.
I don't know why that's so funny.
Right? Since we have some character artists here, how closely will fashion trend with technology in the verse?
Hopefully a lot. I mean, a benefit of being of working on characters is that some of the concepts you can actually develop while you're modeling it, because we kind of have a more of like a liquid kind of pipeline. Like, things can change. So when people have ideas, you can kind of implement it further along in the process. So really, if Jeremiah has a really good idea about how he wants to do technology and that kind of stuff, we'll do our best to kind of implement that in. So right now, I think a lot of the fashion is not high tech, but at the same time, you're in ArtCorp, right? So when you go to a place like Terra, where it's more expensive, we're going to start implementing that a lot more in just the regular fashion. When it comes to military outfits and pilot suits and that kind of stuff with the UE, it's obviously the style that we go for is extremely high tech, but also a little bit of a low tech, grungy, alien kind of feel, you know, which is essentially the style of our game. So we're gonna definitely blend the two a little bit more, but it really depends on what kind of planet you're coming from, what kind of system you're in. All that stuff has been pretty addressed.
Can we look like Tron?
No, because every time we do something Tron, like, everyone's like, that's Tron!
That's the idea.
I know. There will be some Tron-y kind of things, like,
I mean, like the Sata Ball helmet. That was long ago. Actually, Rob worked on Tron, and he gave me references that he used for Tron. And he said, and so I was like, so I can use these shapes. And he's like, as a person who worked on Tron, yes, you may. So I was like, all right, let's go.
And for the uninitiated, that's Rob who?
Rob McKinnon.
And what does Rob McKinnon do?
He is our character production designer. So he's my boss. With also Forrest, he's my boss. So is CR.
Got lots of bosses here.
I have a lot of bosses.
So how long does it take each of you to work on a single specific thing, like to design a character concept, to build a character?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
just about.
Exactly.
35
Sometimes it
minutes.
takes a little longer than that, but
I mean, it
usually
really,
about half an hour.
yeah, for concepts, it really depends on, like, what type of person is this character, right? So if this is just like a regular miner, he just have like a onesie, that can take like a day, right? But if we're going on to like,
Lindsay.
like a heavy marine where he has all these different functions, attachment points, and also EVA capabilities, so those things take a little bit more time. And just really the uniqueness of the character kind of defines how long a character would take. And plus, I do not just one character, but I do 3 variations of that character. So a little bit more time, because I can't just show the producers and the artists and also Chris just one concept art and be like, that's what you got. You can't do that, right? So I have to show different variations, and whichever meets the standards and also the creativity bar. They'll select one out of 3. So, yeah. So it really depends. I've had characters approved in 2 days, and I've also had characters approved in 2 weeks. So it really depends.
I think that's like the nature of the beast with being an artist is like it's one of these amorphous things where it's not so much like you can build a checklist of everything. Well, you can build a checklist of everything you need to do, but you don't necessarily know going into it how long each thing is going to take. And sometimes, you know, I'll be working on a piece of geometry and I'll think, oh my god, this is going to take me 3 days and it'll take me a day. And then other times I'll think, this is going to take an hour and take 6. And our producers hate us for that. But like, I think that's the nature of the beast of being an artist is sometimes things take a long time to kind of, because you're kind of going through this stuff and figuring out how it looks, where it's going to go, how it's going to factor into the ship, and it just, I think,
Explorations.
yeah.
What about you, Ron?
Ships, they take a really long time.
An hour?
Yeah, 45 minutes. No, so it just depends. I mean, usually the size of the ship definitely changes the amount of time it'll take for concept, but like a single seater, I would say roughly about a month, and then when you just build from there, you know, the bigger the ship, the longer it's going to take. And one of the things is if the company that is creating that ship, for example, like Aegis, is one of our more defined companies within like the ship companies that we have already. The Retaliator kind of sets the tone for what future Aegis ships are going to look like. So when you have something like that, providing information, it will speed up the concept a lot. But if it's something where, if it's a company where there's a lot less pre-made ships ready to find, then it's going to take things even longer just because you're still trying to figure out the look and the feel and all that for that company. So it's a hard question to answer, as well as like interiors take a long time. Like for the Vanguard, for example, interiors for 3 variants was about 2 months with all the art and all the modeling and all the design, which I think is pretty good. But and then the exterior for that one was also about 2 months just to figure out the basic shapes and stuff like that. But if another ship similar to the Vanguard by Aegis was to be done, now I have a lot of assets I could reuse, you know, so it's like the more we do it, the quicker it's going to get. So yeah, I hope that helps.
So do you guys art outside of Star Citizen? Do you go home and
do we art, Ben?
Yeah, do we art?
It's art all day.
I think we all want to, and some of us have more time to do it than others. That's the honest answer.
I've been wanting to art so bad.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, I mean, when you're here till 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and then it's an hour home,
Yeah.
you know, because it's LA traffic, and you're home by 9, and then your girlfriend's like, "Meow," and you got to deal with that. Then you know.
I mean,
not
I know
much
you have a
time to-
girlfriend, Omar. Stop bragging.
It's
Yeah.
also like, I mean, I start new projects all the time at home, and I never finish them. So I have a hard drive filled with 50% projects. But yeah, I mean, it definitely like takes brain power. And usually when I go home, I literally want to turn my brain off. So I watch trashy TV and lay on the couch.
Same
and,
thing, exact same
and
thing.
pretty much do nothing.
I mean, is art considered like, because Gurmak's going to be teaching a class soon.
Yeah, that's called facilitating
That's
art.
art.
It's also called work.
It's more work. Yeah.
Jeremiah teaches a class,
As it turns
creature
out-
design.
But I do demos in that class, and I do draw.
Yeah.
So,
Somebody asked about cybernetics, like cybernetic replacements, going back to the death of a spaceman mechanic when you might lose an arm or lose a leg. Have we done any work on cybernetics yet?
no,
That one.
I've worked on some medical appliances, but not that far yet. So still in the works, if that is part of the lore. Yeah, Star Citizen.
Somebody asked, what's the weirdest thing you guys have worked on? Since they didn't specify in the project, so we'll just leave it to your whole career. What's the weirdest thing you've been assigned to work on?
I would say designing space bathrooms is kind of weird. Every ship I've worked on has a space toilet, so.
Tell us about the process of designing a space toilet.
Well, you gotta, think about how comfortable it's gonna be. You don't want to be crammed because you're gonna be doing your business. So.
You're not the one who screwed up the space toilet paper in the Starfarer, are you?
No, I didn't work on the
Wait,
Starfarer.
messed up what on the Starfarer?
The space toilet paper, it's in the shower.
Oh,
What?
no, no,
It's
that's
in the
Starfarer.
shower.
Yeah.
That thing comes out.
No.
Now, when you design space toilet paper, do you go over the roll or do you go under the roll?
I don't design space toilet paper because on the toilets I design, you press a button and it cleans everything for you.
3 seashells.
3 seashells.
Wait, does it have to stay in Star Citizen though?
No.
No. He didn't specify, so.
Well, the weirdest thing I've ever worked on is for a film that's coming soon. I can't talk about it, but the director told me that he wanted a creature that the face has to look like women genitalia. And so yeah, I've worked on that.
Right, there's a voice that exists in most people's heads that tells you when you should say something, when you shouldn't.
Well, that's the weirdest thing.
We're gonna get that for Jeremiah. We're gonna crowdfund that for Jeremiah. He'll have it before the next time he shows
He
up.
said the
on
weirdest thing. That's the weirdest thing I've worked on.
camera. And joining us right now, Gage. Hi, Gage.
Come here, love. All right, well, since Gage is here, I will leave you.
Hi, thank you, Omar.
I have to get back to work. Bye.
Gage, what's going on?
Working on LODs upstairs. Talked to Matt Interior about some stuff we gotta do.
Alright. What are LODs for those who may not know?
So LODs are the geometry that'll transition when you walk away from your ships and stuff. So the farther you go, if we have proper LODs, you shouldn't notice the ship declining in detail.
LOD stands for level of detail.
Yeah, I should've said that.
We thought it was something else.
What'd you think it was?
We can't say.
It's a fantastic new game.
It's a game you don't want to play.
It's about defenses. And,
I think so little about that I didn't even occur.
I'm so lost.
German, has
I
there
feel
been
like you should be telling him what you want for Christmas.
Wait, what?
Gauge.
What do you want?
Gauge is
What do you want
very
for
loud.
Christmas, my boy?
30 concepts.
one of the first ships you worked on for Star Citizen was the Carrack. Has there been any movement on that since we wrapped that up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pushing to do more on it.
Still working on the bathroom?
Well, there's still a lot of work to be done. So we're just trying to figure out a schedule for when
Yes.
we could work that in.
Gonna be going and working on some of the interior stuff.
I've been telling Ben all the fun things I want to do with it, so hopefully that will get signed off and then
Get
it'll
very
be-
close. Very
yeah.
close.
It'll be good. I'm excited.
Oh, we lost Satchmensky. That was a good materials question for us. Oh well. Let's go back to our thing here and see if we got any more.
Everybody pose for a photo.
Oh, we're taking a photo.
No, I was just gonna take a candid shot.
oh, what?
It's too late.
Hurry up.
You know, it would be better if
T-H?
Jeremiah leaned more to his right.
Am I right?
Yes. Maybe was taller.
Maybe was taller.
Or sat more in his seat. Because Lando has an enormous head and he blocks half of
By the way,
the
we're
scene
still
right now.
alive.
Oh yeah.
That's
we
fine.
stopped the whole. we stopped the whole show.
I don't think anybody watching at home will disagree that Lando's.
Here's a question for Jeremiah. Which color crayon tastes best?
Which color crayon tastes best?
Yes.
Actually, the white one.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does.
I would have thought purple.
I've ate all kinds of stuff.
I know, that's why I knew.
Yeah,
I knew that
we
question
know,
was-
Jeremiah.
I knew that question was for you. and now that I know that.
I've got a question for you, Lando. I've noticed that we have these overlays here in the corner.
Uh-huh.
What? There's one that says Lando and Lando. One that says pineapple. One that says abacus man. What?
These have been here for every RTV we've ever done.
I never noticed them before.
Oh, you know, I just noticed Abacus Man today also.
What does
Okay.
abacus man
You want to see what
do?
Abacus Man is?
Yes, please.
Okay, hold on. This is Abacus Man. That's Abacus Man. Yeah. I do a pre-show for our TV normally, and they have no idea what goes into it. That's what goes into it.
Abacus man.
Let's see. I know you're working on a duster for characters to wear. Are there plans for something like a cowboy hat or a helmet that could resemble a cowboy hat?
A helmet.
Really?
I think there was a cowboy hat concept in CR said no. I think he was like, oh hell no.
Actually, I think that might actually be
Send
true.
your letters
I
to
do remember
warm up the
that.
scene. Here, I've taught approved games.
I mean, like if it's part of the main thing is for characters, it's lore, right? So as long as it fits the lore, I don't think Chris or any of the writers would have any problem with it, because we're 900 years in the future. Will we still be wearing cowboy hats? I don't know. And we don't wear clothes that were made 900 years ago, right? At all.
Speak for yourself.
Do we have anything from
Yeah, we have token days.
Loincloths.
Yeah, but we didn't have polyester.
Wedding dresses.
Polyester would still exist anyway.
Wedding dresses, man. That's
900
hundreds of years old.
900?
900?
I guess that's true. but-
900? No. 900 years ago, they were pretty much just wearing like what? It's like medieval, right?
Well, I mean, it
We have
depends.
a lot of that going around too.
Well, that's just LARPing, but they're not wearing that on a daily basis. Well, I guess the
They're saying
No,
you look like
900's
you're
right before the Renaissance.
Just said the Amish.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
The Amish are still wearing the same thing 900 years ago.
History, art, we got everything here.
And no Amish people will be watching.
Oh yeah, that's right. If you are, shame on you.
Have you done any work for the Kasaba outlet? Some of the outfits that might go in there at all?
No.
No.
No,
Based on the look on your face when I was asking, definitely
I
not.
was just like
Jeremiah is a high-end
shit.
designer.
No.
He doesn't do stuff for outlets.
Wait, what?
I'll bump that.
Was it Outlaws?
Outlets.
The shopping malls we have.
It's a shopping
Oh,
mall.
Come on.
The one on Arc Corp.
Let's see.
oh, I did.
Remember, guys, these are members of our art team. So,
So they don't know how many of anything fit in the Idris.
no matter how many
3.
times you ask.
82.
I'm looking at the thread for questions for our art team, and people are asking how many turrets are on the Idris.
We can go count.
Come on, ask your
Shit,
question.
there's a lot of them. I think there might be like
That's my
6
question.
or more.
What is a turret?
What is a turret?
Are we working on any of the landing zones here in Santa Monica?
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
Here in LA, we focus mainly on characters and ships.
Characters and spaceships, guys. So questions about the hangar or landing zones, probably not going to have much info for you. What work have you guys been doing for Alpha 2.0? I know that's kind of all hands on deck.
That's
folks have been
that's
helping.
Constellation right there.
Yeah.
Constellation?
Constellation, which is a big part of 2.0, unless something has changed that I'm not aware of. But that's
No.
all.
No
all
way,
the work
we're in
that we-
trouble if the Constellation isn't ready for 2.0.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Yeah, so that's part of it. But that's all hands on deck has been Constellation for our art team here and in Austin on the Constellation for the last month.
Did I tell you that animation you had on with the Merlin docking was very cool? It was very cool.
Appreciate that.
I watched
Thank
it
you.
like 4 times yesterday.
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw how excited Chris was in Shotgun, and I use Shotgun as kind of a tool to see how happy Chris is about things. So once you guys put in art that Chris likes, I go, oh, I can ask Chris for stuff now.
He's not
the
joking.
secret's
I'm
out.
not joking. I'm kind of a lamprey to their shark.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like one of 2 things happens. Either Chris says, "No, this is all wrong, and you're supposed to do this, and you go, "Oh my God, he was absolutely right, and I suck," or he goes, "That's amazing, that's awesome." Then that's when we know, jump. So.
And that's how we got the text for the flight model post approved.
Yes. Yeah, we did. So we're almost done with the show. So flight model update post text is approved. You'll see it on Thursday, guys.
Thursday, that's tomorrow.
Whoa.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So maybe this is a question for Elwin. For the Connie variants, once we wrap up the Connie, do we go straight into the Connie variants or?
No. That's going to be scheduled out at some point in the future, but our schedule has us working on additional ships. So right now our focus is to get more ships out as opposed to piling on all the production onto a single ship, because we want to be able to get the community to test out different kinds of gameplay as opposed to just giving them one option.
Gotcha. So for 2.0 and for the immediate future after that, if you have any version of a constellation, you'll be flying the constellation Andromeda.
Andromeda, right.
So that answers your Phoenix question. Person who asked about the Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
thought you
something
said
else
something
too.
else too.
Yeah, disco.
Language.
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 And we've started to work on the new freelancer.
So the freelancer, because it's a MISC ship, it's all getting done out in the UK. What I can say is that they started doing some more concept passes on it to get it updated with the new MISC look.
The interiors.
And the interior is looking so good.
Yeah, they do.
It's looking so sick.
So that one with the cargo area where the guy was just chilling on some boxes in the cargo
Yep,
area.
yep.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Cool. So yeah, but that will not be in the first drop of 2.0, guys. We're still concepting the revamp.
But it is, the freelancer is priority though. It won't be 2.0, but it is one of the next ships that they're going to be putting a lot of resources on.
Can you talk anything about like new materials? Are we using just existing materials that like exist in the world today, or have any new materials been invented for like maybe that we discovered 900 years in the future on a alien planet?
We will be using materials that aren't
Everything
the
is,
world's,
Space metal.
space metal.
Space metal?
Space magic metal. No. The alien species is probably going to be where we see most of that happen.
Right.
And it's being explored right now for the Xi'an, for example, and will be explored for the other species like the Tavarian.
Any updates on Avenger variants? It comes up every single stream. so-
Avenger variants?
Yeah, Avenger variants.
Work has been done on those.
That's
I
UK,
think.
right?
Yeah,
Yes,
but
UK.
that is UK because it's an Aegis ship.
Yeah.
But nothing to report yet.
Nothing to report yet.
Right now, 2.0 is just focused on the Retaliator and the Constellation at the moment. But you'll still be able to fly all your existing single-seater ships. You're still going to be able to fly around your Hornet and your Aurora.
Yeah, you should
Yeah.
be able to use whatever you own.
Just new additions, new flight rate additions are focused on the Retaliator and the Constellation.
And kind of conceptually, we're going to be treating it like we did the initial 0.7, 0.8 drop of AC, where it had one or two ships when it launched, and then one of our priorities is going to be adding more and more hulls in ensuing patches. So expect to see more soon after. But we want to get the base multi-crew gameplay concept out there to make sure it doesn't explode. All that.
Has there been any work on the military Hornet body kit that we sold a while back?
Well, the trick there is it's just going to use the military Hornet artwork they're developing for Squadron 42. So, from our planning perspective, it's not a separate project.
No, the Sabre will not be in the first drop of 2.0. It's still a concept at the moment.
I think it's white box now. Ending white box. I don't know.
Well, they've already ended the white box.
It's somewhere in white box. Right?
Great. EVA suits are the seal ring standardized, so the suit parts are interchangeable.
EVA, read the question again?
On the EVA suits, are the seal rings standardized so people can swap out gloves, boots?
That's the plan.
What's the plan?
Yeah.
Like if I like the torso on this spacesuit, I like the gloves on this spacesuit, I like the helmet on this spacesuit.
I mean, that's the dream, though, right? So
Yeah.
you can able to customize whatever as an MMO. Because the way we're doing our characters, I could be wrong, but from what Forrest and Omar were telling me was there'll literally be stages
Yes.
on the character. So one will be the glove, and we call them items, right? So you
Mhm.
can switch. So the whole concept, like components, you can swap in, swap out. So yes, you can have like an RSI helmet, and then you might have like a light marine boot. I don't know.
that's the idea. That's what we're working towards.
I mean, we try to do the same thing with ships too.
Right.
We're trying to make as much stuff modular as possible while still being able to keep things unique. Because
Right.
we don't. I mean, in the end, you don't want a bunch of Frankenstein-looking things, but you do want customization. So it's we're figuring out a way to make sure that you get both.
Okay. Here's a question for Gurmak. Actually, either one of you, I suppose. One of the long-standing kind of dreams for a lot of people is to eventually create ships for hopeful inclusion in Star Citizen way down the line kind of thing. What kind of poly counts and textures and stuff should they be looking towards if they wanted to get a jump start on designing ships? Or what kind of guidelines
What they need to do is they need to bribe us. No, I'm just kidding. Poly counts are I guess kind of hard to answer. It just depends on the size of the ship.
We have a guide that we're trying to stick to, but different ships obviously require different amounts of poly count, different amounts of
Depending on
textures, so
how
on and
big
so
they
forth.
are.
Yeah, depending on how big they are, but we do have guys that we're trying to stick to very, very hard. We are breaking them down by sort of like small, medium size, and capital. And I think they break down to somewhere around 300,000 polys for a small ship, and that would be like a single-seater ship, like a Hornet or a Gladiator or a Gladius or something like that. Ship more the size of the Retaliator and Constellation is supposed to stick somewhere around 500. And capital class ships, we are trying to get them in somewhere around 750 to a million polygons. But again, these are just basic guides, and every ship is unique. It has totally different requirements. So you're going to see ships that just do not fit in that at all, depending on what the requirements of that ship is. But those are the things that we're trying to aim for performance reasons and production reasons and things like that.
And I mean, I don't know. Will we allow people to put their own ships in the game? I don't think so. But maybe.
I don't know. I mean, the modding community can put whatever the hell they want in it, right?
It's a long way away. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
So
that's something to be figured out in the future.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps up our special October subscriber edition of Reverse the Verse. Thank you guys so much for coming, and thanks to Omar and Dan Kamensky and Gage, who already took off. These are the real superstars here. That's Elwin.
We're here for you guys.
Gurmak.
They're not. We are. Yeah,
That's Crayon
we
Eater.
are dedicated to our
Crayon
fans.
Eater.
Crayon Eater. The white Crayon Eater. Why's it gotta be white, man?
Because it's his favorite color.
That's messed
And
up.
thank you,
White
of
is
course.
not a color, by the way.
Thank you, of course, to our
For the crayons,
subscribers
for the
who
short
make
hair.
all of these broadcasts possible. Not just this show, but around the verse and
Yeah.
Jennifer the Chairman.
Big
and
thank you
whatnot.
to the fans. We
Yes,
love you guys.
and
you guys are awesome.
And thank you to Alexis for managing our subscribers and all the hard work that she does. She's been sitting over there just watching us the whole time, making sure we don't screw this up. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
No. Hello.
We'll probably be doing this again next month. Don't know when because we are moving. So maybe not. We're gonna try. We're gonna try.
Yeah, we wanna keep doing these
Yeah,
monthly.
yeah.
So
So when we know who our special guests are, we'll let you know and we can start compiling questions for them.
And
Okay?
let us know in the forums who you'd like to see.
Besides Chris Roberts.
Besides
Every single
artists.
Besides artists. I think we all agree we're never doing artists ever again.
Sorry for wasting an hour of your life.
All right,
You'll
guys.
never get back.
Jared Huckabee, Ben Lesnick, Alexis Lesnick.
See you guys.